Hello, my name is Nick Maribel. I'm an artist, and I've also been a teacher on the college level, high school, and elementary. When I was younger, I wanted to paint realistically. Let's say I'd wanted to paint a house, and I wanted to get the angles right, the peak, the receding sides. How do you do that? Now, of course, I knew 1 and 2 point perspective and other perspectives, but when I'm out there, it just seemed a little removed from what I was needing. I would try things, tools, like I would bring out a protractor. Okay, we line this up, and I would hold it level, and I would get the degrees, and I would put it down on my board, on my canvas, or on my drawing sketch pad, and it just seemed to be like something in the way. I needed something helpful, but that wasn't it, and yet it led me to an idea. How many good ideas do you have? But this was one that I really want to share with you. Younger still, back in the first grade, we were taught times. What time is it? This is a test that I had to take, and clearly I did okay. I got an E for excellent. Nikki, what does 1 o'clock look like? What does 3 o'clock look like? They were drilling into our heads, thankfully, what angles look like in terms of relation to what time it is. Now, perhaps today people don't know this as well because of the digital clocks that are out there, and yet Movado still sells a very expensive, beautiful watch that doesn't even have numbers on it at all. They will have some kind of precious little item on top to show you where 12 is. And if you have that, you also do have the center of the clock, which will show and line up between 12 and the center what straight up and down is. And you can keep going all the way down to 6. And if you have a vertical line, it's implying the horizontal where the 3 and the 9 is. Learning this at an early age really helped later on. Now, when in front of my old house, I use that idea to find the angles of the roof edge, of where the sides of windows are, and all the clapboards. In fact, when I look at these paintings now from 1981, I still see the clocks floating all over the place. There's one at the window, there's one at the door. You can see them as well as I can. And this was more helpful than trying to find 1 or 2 point perspective ideas. Now, clock, this floating idea in between you and your subject matter. Here, a photo of a nice Frank Lloyd Wright home. I mean, which one isn't nice? This one's beautiful, like they all are. And at the top, I could imagine seeing a clock floating in space where the red little dot, if you can make it out, would be right where the hands would be attached to the clock. Now, instead of asking yourself, what time do those 2 angles make? Just do one at a time. Where does the one on the right go? Which number, where does it fall between the 3 and the 4? And all the other angles. And then I could see a clock floating to the left and to the right. And even the crack in the old driveway, you could find those angles very, very accurately. Another. And even the tree, if you put the center of the clock right in the little fork where the branches go out, you can really draw those limbs very, very accurately if that's what you're looking for. In fact, you could see clocks floating all over the place. Now, here is a drawing of a Frank Lloyd Wright home done in 2 point perspective. Beautiful. But I could look at it as an example and show you where these angles show up maybe a little more clearly than on the photo. I'm not saying they use this clock idea because this is something I think you won't find this anywhere else. It's just something that occurred to me and I wanted to share it, and that's why I'm making this little video. Clock angles. Now, the boxes, I would have my students sit in front of a white cardboard box, and again, telling them about the times and the angles, and I would make for them a clear piece of plexiglass with etched lines pointing at 12 and 6 and also across 9 and 3 with a hole drilled through the center and a string threaded through, knotted on both ends, you could have an angle finder that you could hold in your hand and look through and line up on the box that you see through it. When you're looking through it, you hold it as level as you can, close one eye, pull the string with one hand, hold it with the same hand. You could then get that angle and place it down on an existing vertical line that you drew, lining it up, finding the angle, using your pencil, put a mark right through that string, lift the plexiglass away after you've drawn that line, and there you have it. And now, a review using some computer images to help show what I've been describing. In this case, let's look at the little red dot at the bottom of the box, and then there'd be one at the top, and this would be a straight line up and down in relation to the picture plane. And you could then draw it, holding up your angle finder, for lack of a better word, that's what we came up with, putting the center of the clock at the lower point, and then pull that string along that bottom edge and lay it down. Again, don't shift it. And we would do the same for the left side. And of course at the top, hold the angle finder right there, zero in on the center, and pull the string, and pull the string. And in case you can go to the back, and you could, from that point, you could go across. And then you could crisscross that one on the other side and go that way. There are ways of using this angle finder to find those proportions of how long the box is. You'll figure that out. And you could tell somebody on the phone, miles away, what angles you find, and they could draw the box based on your accurate information and send it to you, and you would see your box drawn by somebody who's never seen it. You could use this device even for drapery, whether it's drapery that somebody's wearing or you're reproducing a master drawing. If you have that clock idea in front of you, between you and your subject matter, when you see an old master drawing such as this, you could imagine seeing the clock and the center right at that fold, and you'd find the angle of it. It would be just past the 7 on the clock. So when your page or your painting, whatever you're working on, you could really draw that angle very, very, very accurately, as accurately as you need. Angles all over the place, wherever you need. It's a tool. Eventually you won't need to hold up a plastic sheet of plexiglass to find the angles, because you'll be able to see this out in space. The plastic sheet, like a clock face, is basically two-dimensional, and it's a translator. It translates the 3D that you see in front of you to 2D, because that's what you need. Whether you're using it for interiors or drawing the figure or still lives, I just think it's information that I've never heard of before. It came about just by sitting in front of some houses back in 1981 and trying to find a better way to find the angles. And I hope if there's anything in this that's helpful to you, that's great. That's why I'm making this video, to pass this information on. And I hope it helps you. Take care. Nick Marivelle. Bye-bye.